Hello, and welcome back to the Let's All Laugh At podcast with me, Johnny Hunt, and I'm joined by Newcastle fan, Mr. Andrew. How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Marvellous. Did you have a good weekend?
I think, like everyone, we're just counting the days now.
Yeah, it is now 48 days until the pub opens. Not that I'm counting or anything like that. So let's jump straight in. Let's talk about Arsenal first. We lost 1-0 at home to Manchester City. I must admit, Andrew, I wasn't too disappointed with the performance. I thought we played all right. Unfortunately, Man City they're on a bit of a different level to us, and that's just kind of the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the early goal as well kind of killed Arsenal really early. For me, with Man City at the moment, is that they can basically change 3-4 players and you won't even notice a difference. So when Kevin De Bruyne was out, I think we all thought, oh, they're going to drop off a bit. They actually got better.
I know. Yeah, I know.
That's the scary thing, and you got to remember that at the moment their striker Jesus is not in form, and obviously Aguero's been out most of the season. I think he's only played a few games, so they're doing this without a strike. You imagine if they added someone like Haaland to that, and they could keep Kevin De Bruyne fit for most of the season, and for me that's not like. It's quite scary, to be honest. But, we said this maybe 2-3 years ago, and, Liverpool came along. So maybe the domination won't be as much. And they still have to prove it in Europe. So, for Arsenal, I feel like they're kind of like, oh, we were going to push for that. They've not been consistent enough yet to push really for a top six yet. Maybe they take the season as a transition season and say, okay, well, at least Smith Rowe's played more, at least Saka's played more, like we can use this and strengthen. I think nobody expected this pandemic, so finances mean that everyone's going to be, more conservative in the transfer market. So it's hard to make those strides basically to improve.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I thought, Man City, they were pretty much in cruise control throughout the game. I mean, the early goal kind of killed it straight away, really. When a header doesn't happen often. But I thought we had moments in the game. I know we didn't create an awful lot of chances, but I thought we had little spells where I thought if we'd have risked a bit more of a gamble, we might have caused them more problems. But in the end, I mean, City didn't really get out of second gear because they didn't really need to. But I thought we defended quite well, apart from the goal, obviously. But City are just a machine. As you say, Kevin De Bruyne comes off and they bring on Jesus and they bring off, they've got Aguero on the bench, they've got Foden on the bench. It's kind of that's what's so deep that it's just quality, isn't it? And
what are your thoughts on Odegaard? How do you feel he's done?
Do you know what? I thought I mean, you can't really judge him for Sunday because I think, as I say, it wasn't a bad point for anyone on Sunday. I'm impressed by him though, Odegaard. I thought he had a couple of nice little touches, last week, and I think he's definitely improved us. I think he will. I think he carry on improving. I think he needs a goal, but yeah, I think I'm quite impressed. I can see why he was so highly rated when he went to Real Madrid, and I think we still got to see the best of him. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with him actually. I think nice touches. I can see why he played against City and not Emile Smith Rowe. I think he played a lot of games, so it's good to have that change and keep the pressure on Smith Rowe to keep improving. So, but yeah, Odegaard, I'm quite impressed. I'm quite happy with how he's come into the team and played quite well, to be honest.
What do you think about? What was I going to ask you? Sorry, the other thing I was going to say is, do you think he'll get in the top six, or do you think it's unlikely?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit unlikely. But then again, it's still quite tight, from fourth down to where we are. I mean, there's not that many points in it really. I think it's only like 6-7 points, and at the moment with teams dropping points, it's unlikely. I must admit. But if we had beaten Man City on Sunday, then I would have gone, yeah, we've got a chance. But we've got Leicester this Sunday, which is another very difficult game. But it's always mathematically impossible. We've always got a chance, but I do think we should. I think Benfica. I think that's where we should be aiming now is to maybe win that Europa League. We've got a chance. against Benfica. I mean, we're at home, even though we're in Athens. Make sense of that, what you will. Yeah, I mean, top six is difficult because I think there's improved as well. I mean, you've got teams, there's so many decent teams in that Premier League now, like West Ham. I mean, they could be in the top six as well.
Who would have said last season, if someone had said, oh, 2/3 through the season, West Ham are going to be ahead of Liverpool?
I know. It's crazy, and I think they're 9 points clear of them as well, aren't they? I think something like that.
West Ham were relegation fighting last year.
Yeah, no, but as I say, I think it's going to be difficult for the top six, but who knows? I mean, if we can get a couple of runs, we've got some really big games coming up. We've got Leicester on Sunday, then we've got Burnley at home, and then we've got Spurs as well. So and we've got Chelsea after that. So I think they're the games that are going to really see where we are. And if we can come out of that with a couple of wins, then who knows? But it's going to be difficult because I think we have improved. I think we mentioned like a couple of weeks ago on this podcast that as Arteta improved us, and I think defensively, I think we looked alright against City. I think we looked okay, apart from the wobble in the first couple of minutes. But I thought we played alright. And City are class, and they probably didn't need, as I say, they probably didn't get out of second gear. But I thought we played alright. I wasn't angry with the performance. Of you just got to accept that City are just on a different level. So
Gotta say, for me, just one of the players who I don't think gets enough credit for City is Rodri. I think last year he really struggled. He wasn't very fast, and people ran off him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think this year he's been quality. I think he really gives them a good base. Because everybody was worried, obviously, Fernandinho's coming to the end, and how are they going to replace him? And I think Rodri is the perfect replacement. Just gives them, a platform for De Bruyne, Foden, whoever to go and play in that centre. Gundogan, he doesn't get a lot of credit as well. Like everyone's talked about De Bruyne, Foden, Gundogan. No one's ever really said. Even the defenders, Ruben Diaz, Stones have got credit, but I think Rodri's kind of got under the radar, and I just think he probably deserves a lot of credit for his season as well.
Yeah, definitely. I dare say, City they're just class, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won all 4 trophies. To be fair, I think if there's a team that are quite relieved that they're not playing them very soon, that's Spurs again. 'Cause I think if that League Cup was this weekend, I think it'd be a very easy win for City. But it's onto your team, Andrew. I mean, it was 3-1 defeat at United. How did you see the game? I thought Newcastle played okay at times, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, we played okay, but I never felt at any time during the game that we were going to get something from the game. I mean, again, it was really St. Maxim causing, again, the kind of the go-to guy, pass the ball to St. Maxim, hopes he does something, kind of tactics. I just feel like with the way Fulham are coming along now, the way we're dropping down, even Darlow's he's started to make a couple of errors. I just cannot see us, it's very we've been relegated twice. So if you're asking me to be honest, this squad is probably the worst out of the 3. The other 2 that went down, and for me, the biggest problem now is Callum Wilson being injured. If you take away 50 to 60% of your goals, and then your replacements are Carroll, Joe Linton, Gale, all who had Gale I feel a bit harsh on, but the other 2 just not good enough really, then it's unlikely we're going to be able, because you need to be able to score goals to get out of the situation, and I just can't see it. Whilst Fulham, I watched them, and like I said, Lookman looks quality. They seem to come up with a system which works. For me, Scott Parker is a progressive manager. Yeah. So even when they were struggling, they were trying to play the right way. Yeah, they couldn't defend. They looked terrible at the start of the season, but now he's a new modern manager. He's trying to make them play a progressive way. Whilst we've got Steve Bruce, and I don't really know what the plan is, what the system is. I used to say, oh, he's a nice guy. But even now, I'm I think he's a bit deluded as well. I always thought, oh, he's trying his best. He's a nice guy, and I'm sure he's trying his best still. But like, you can't pull the wool over people's eyes, with some of the things he says, like, because he was saying, oh, Fulham, they've not won many in the last 14. Neither have we. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
what are you talking about? Like, concentrate on yourself. I don't understand the decision to let Yedlin go to Galatasaray in January. For me, it makes no sense. He's going to go on a free anyway. So why we've now got Emil Kraft at right? I mean, Rashford tore him to pieces on that goal, and then obviously Darlow should have really done better as near post. But yeah, I just don't think. I think at the moment, unless suddenly St. Maxim really steps up and is dominating games and attacking and really creating and is at his best, I can't see us being much of a threat going forward, and I think it might mean we go down.
Yeah, I mean, the penalty that United got, I thought was incredibly harsh. I know Dan in the group chat was Rashford, and it was very, very harsh. I thought. I mean, it's a modern day penalty, isn't it? Because Willock did slip, but there wasn't much contact. I must admit. I mean, if that goes against Arsenal, I'm not very happy with that. I thought it was a bit of a harsh penalty, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's a harsh penalty. I think it happens all the time now. If there's any slight contact, it's a penalty, basically. I guess that's the thing with VAR. Like, the one thing you can say about VAR is we've seen more penalties and we see more goals because of it. So, but like, for me, obviously, it's very soft. But what do you expect? United away.
That's very true. But I'd say I thought Newcastle played quite well. Maximum's goal was superb. He took that really well. It was a great finish, that. But I think you are right. I think with the way Fulham are playing at the moment, and the fact Newcastle are not scoring many goals, that is a bit of a worry. And if Fulham carry on playing the way they're playing and carry on winning, then they could find themselves out of it, and Newcastle could find themselves in that relegation zone. And I think I'd be hard pressed to say that they'd survive, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I can't see us surviving. I've got to be honest. I think it's like, at the end of the day, if you look at both clubs, like when Newcastle went and got Steve Bruce, we went and got the manager who's had, I think, one of the only few managers who's managed over 300 games, but has the lowest win percentage. Yeah. Yeah. So he's never gonna, push you into the. I don't know how many. I'm guessing he's not had many top half finishes. For me, if you ask me what Steve Bruce has done well in his career, he took Hull to a cup final.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's been okay at getting promotions, but like Newcastle weren't about that. And like Mike Ashley, I keep saying this, like, he makes such strange decisions with managers. It's just so if I go through it, he sacked Chris Hughton when Chris Hughton was doing a very good job. He just sacked him randomly. He got rid of Sam Allardyce when we were mid-table, stable, everything. He treated Keegan like rubbish, treats Rafa like rubbish. But then he's really persistent and patient with like Steve McLaren, Steve Bruce, which just makes no sense. Like why would you be harsh on people who do well for you and protect your business? He's a businessman. Paying Rafa $6 million a year, yeah. Whilst it seems a lot of money, if you stay in the Premier League, he's protecting your business asset. Getting Steve Bruce on the cheap and getting relegated is just, he's costing that. It's going to come back to haunt him because he's not going to be able to. It's going to come back to haunt me, to be honest. He's not going to be able to sell the club again because he's never going to get that price for a Championship club. So
yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. So let's move on to a couple of the decisions from the weekend. Before we do that, I just want to get your opinion on the Chelsea on Thomas Tuchel taking off Callum Hudson-Odoi. He came on second half and he was brought off in the half hour later. And Thomas Tuchel after the game said that he wasn't happy with his body language or his attitude or whatever it was. And I don't know about you, but I didn't like that because I just thought if you've got a problem with a player, do it in the dressing room. Don't do it in the public domain. Not a young player like that. It could ruin his confidence. And I just didn't like that from Thomas Tuchel. I don't know how you saw it.
I mean, I watched some of the Sky analysis where Jamie Carragher analyses Hudson-Odoi's performance. And when I watched it, I just thought he didn't do anything much wrong, really.
No. I mean, a couple of Chelsea fans that I know, they said that Callum Hudson-Odoi, he came on and he had a couple of touches, and he looked quite dangerous. And I
mean,
I just didn't like it.
I think it happened to Moise Kean last year, and now he's scoring away to Barcelona. So who knows, for Hudson-Odoi, maybe he will
Absolutely. Yeah, I just thought,
liven his career up.
yeah, exactly. I just thought it was a little bit harsh by Thomas Tuchel. I just think if you got, as I say, if you got a problem with a player, do it in the dressing room and say, look, if you're not going to do what I tell you to do, then I won't play you. Just to do that in the public domain is very. I just didn't like it. I must admit. Because I think he's a decent player, Hudson-Odoi. I think he's going to go on and be a decent player. But after that, maybe not at Chelsea. Who knows? So, a couple of the decisions that happened this weekend. I mean, obviously the West Brom handball, Semi Ajayi got red carded, and probably rightly so because it was a handball. But then in the same game, Kyle Bartley handballs it, and the VAR look at it, and it's not handball. And I'm just like, how can you look at that and not give handball? It baffled me. It really did.
Yeah, I think the thing which everyone is getting annoyed with VAR is inconsistency. And I don't know whether they need someone to be supervising who's the same person. I mean, all the matches are staggered now. You could literally get, some sort of consistency, some person who's consistently there or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just, it makes no, I mean, VAR has basically taught us that it's not because the ref can't see it actually now, it's because everyone's interpretation is different of the rules, and it's swayed by so many different factors.
Yeah.
But the thing with football is it's all subjective. Three people look at the same thing, and they'll all be like, no, that's not a penalty. It's like do you remember when we talked about the David Luiz against Wolves one?
Yeah, I remember that very well. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people said yeah, it's definitely a red. Other people said no. It's but I mean. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll be honest, I just find the inability to celebrate a goal properly now is just a bit strange, isn't it? You see Lingard, yeah, he scored a brilliant goal, yeah. He celebrates, and then there's maybe it's offside. So, and then again, you can celebrate. It's just it's not football. It's just, I was at the game. I went to the Man City Spurs game with the goal when I think Sterling was offside, and if the goal had counted, it would have been City would have gone through.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was the weirdest thing. It was because I was sat with the City fans, because my friends were City fans, and you were high because you were like, oh wow, it was an incredible match. That's the best match of football I've ever seen live, to be honest. And it was an incredible high. Then you've got the low. Oh, maybe it's going to be disallowed. And then so the Spurs fans have gone from a low, thinking they're going to get knocked out, and then they're celebrating the VAR decision. It's just weird. It's
that was the game because that was when Llorente handballed it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was handball, and even though it was, maybe I'm being a bit biased because it's Spurs, but it was handball. But yeah, I mean, speaking of penalties, I mean, was it Sheffield United Fulham when Areola comes out and absolutely takes it? Was it Oliver Burke? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's anywhere outside the box, that's a free kick. So how that's not a penalty. I know he won the ball maybe a little bit, but he took the player out. Surely it's a penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was definitely a penalty. Areola is a funny one, isn't it? He's had a season at Real Madrid, a season at PSG, and now he's at Fulham.
Yeah.
He must be thinking, how I have fallen to go from Real Madrid, PSG to playing for Fulham.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of penalties, you might as well move on to Liverpool versus Everton. Everton, their first win at Anfield for 23 years, I think it is, or something like that. Liverpool 4 defeats in a row now for the first time since 1923. Unbelievable, really, and Everton deserved it. I mean, the penalty, we'll get to that straight away, shall we? I mean, I thought it was a little bit harsh. It
was harsh. Yeah, very harsh.
Why how Gallagher say that Trent should have been sent off? I find that a little bit. I don't see where he can go. Trent, he's facing the other way. I just find that probably very harsh, to be honest.
I think for me as well, just watching Liverpool, it's going to be so interesting when Van Dijk and Gomez come back, whether they're able to return to the same levels next year.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and I suppose it's and Jamie Carragher come under a little bit of stick from Liverpool fans because he was, And fair play to him because I know they've got defenders out and midfielders playing centre back and stuff, but there's still no excuses for not beating teams like Burnley, Brighton, Everton at home. And I think he's spot on really because they've still got that front three of Salah, Mane, and Firmino, and they should be scoring goals. And they don't even look like scoring a goal, do they? That's the thing. I mean, they don't look very good, Liverpool.
No, I think if you look at all the players have dropped off. Like literally, who can you say in Liverpool's team, except maybe Jota, who is having a good season? You can say Salah, obviously, is top goal scorer, but even he's not at his top kind of form. But like literally, who is having a good season for Liverpool this year? Alisson has gone off the boil. Robertson is doing it well, but again, he's not at his top level. Everyone else I find, they've had lots of injuries, and I get it. I think it shows the difference. City obviously have been able to create a huge squad. Liverpool weren't able to create a huge squad. And for me, one of the biggest things was obviously they let Lovren go in the summer. That, not replacing him at that time with a proper centre-back, not Fabinho. Joel Matip has had injury problems since he joined Liverpool.
Yes.
So again, you need to be thinking about these things. We can criticise now with hindsight. This is still a freak year, but for me to go from first to looking like you might not even get in the top six, I still think they will. I think the front three will come good and they'll score their way out of problems. But it's a huge drop off, and for Klopp, it's going to be weird for him now because all the way through his Liverpool career, he's been up, up, up. There's been an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's got a downward trajectory. And he had this issue at Dortmund where he got them so high and then they dropped off and he wasn't able to kind of go again with Dortmund. And he was, they came to an agreement and he left and everything like that. So it's going to be like, I feel so sorry for them because they won the Premier League. They couldn't have like a trophy parade as well and stuff like that. It was such a strange way for them. And like now they're saying, oh, well, we'll have a trophy parade when lockdown restrictions get, they're going to be seventh in the, City might have won the league by then.
That's the thing. Yeah, not wrong. As well is how much I didn't actually watch all the game. I listened to it on the radio, and I think there was a comment with a ex-Liverpool player was on the radio saying how much Trent Alexander-Arnold has fallen. Because going forward, he's a phenomenal player going forward. But I think defensively he has got a lot to work on. Because defensively, I don't think he's a very good defender, if I'm honest. I don't know how you feel about him, but going forward, he's phenomenal. But at the back, I think he's a little bit suspect.
I think his problem has been that there's no one who can come in to help him, give him a break. So again, their squad is weird. They've not got. If you look at, I think who would play right. I think their idea was Joe Gomez would come in and play right back. Say Trent was injured when the season started. We'll play Gomez, or James Milner can play there. Yeah, they don't have any specialist right backs to come in, and he's been again. He's someone he's been incredible since he was 18. Guys won the Premier League, the Champions League, played in 2 Champions League finals. I think he's being exposed now because before it didn't really matter because they had Van Dijk, Gomez to protect him. And so maybe these errors defensively weren't getting caught. He wasn't getting caught because the centre-backs were covering him. Yeah, but now if you play with Kabak and Henderson, it's not the same. So, I just think I've always thought Liverpool. I would really be interested to see if he could play further forward. I've always wondered.
Yeah, no. As I say, going forward, I think he's a phenomenal player. Yeah. He's a threat from set pieces. He can half hit a ball as well. I just think maybe you're right. Maybe because there's no one alongside him that can give him that bit of a hand. And with Kabak, I feel a bit sorry for Kabak, to be honest with you, because he's come from conceding a lot of goals with Schalke. I think he's 58 goals this season, and he's gone to Liverpool.
Training with Mustafi and Kolasinac.
Yeah, exactly. And come from the Bundesliga, and you're bottom of the table, and then to come to the Premier League to a better league, and I feel a bit sorry for him. He's still only very young, but I'm sure there must have been other defenders Liverpool could have got earlier on in the window. We love that Mustafi. I know he's not the best defender in a million years. I know he's gone to Schalke, but surely a bit of Premier League experience would have gone a long way for Liverpool. But
Yeah.
and
I feel very sorry for him because he's being come in and basically sort us out, and he's not even that experienced. So he becomes this is what I think will probably happen. His loan spell will end in June. He'll probably go back to Schalke, but he'll be like, oh, I played for Liverpool, but it wasn't really that Liverpool because everyone was injured and I was thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, they brought that other player from is it Preston? Is it Ben?
Yeah.
Where's he got? I thought they brought him as well as a centre
I
back.
think he's been injured, but yeah. Again, like Championship centre back in a Premier League winning team, like. But Liverpool have their. I mean, I think Klopp is frustrated by it because I think Klopp wanted Upamecano or Koulibaly or someone like that. Yeah. Because if you played one of them with Fabinho, then you've got a top team. But I don't understand why not bring your summer spending forward so you make sure that this season isn't completely written off. Because if Liverpool don't qualify for the Champions League, I mean that will be. I still think they will, but that would be crazy.
Yeah. I think Liverpool in the Champions League. I mean, they beat Leipzig and they've still got. I mean, you can never write off Liverpool in the Champions League. I don't think they'll win it this year at all. But they'll still win it. You can't ever write them off, I suppose. But speaking of the Champions League, if there's one team that could qualify, again, it's a bit of a long shot, and that's West Ham. I mean, they beat Spurs 2-1, and what a performance from West Ham. I mean, they have turned into a really, really good football club to watch. Anyway, I mean, Souček, Warrior, Lingard has turned into prime Pele. They're just impressive to watch, aren't they? Lingard, West Ham, really impressive them.
Yeah, I think this is it's interesting. Obviously, there's been no fans, and like West Ham fans have always been critical of the stadium and everything like that. Maybe the pressure has not been as much on them. I think Lingard was a brilliant signing, really. He fits their style of play perfectly. Antonio is such a handful, and for me, I watch him play sometimes, and I don't think he's technically that good, but he's such a beast and gets into good positions and so forth. Souček has been an excellent signing. I mean, you've got to give credit to David Moyes, really, because I think if they come in a top 6, that would be an incredible season for West Ham. But the thing is they need to learn because they finished 5th or 6th under Bilic. It was the year like Payet was incredible and everything, and they didn't strengthen well. Yeah, and they need to make sure they give David Moyes that backing. Yeah, so that they can go and I don't think they'll sustain it, to be honest. They'll probably be but West Ham have big stadium, London based, the foundations are all there really. So, but I think for David Moyes, it must be very satisfying because he's had, he failed at Sunderland, he failed at Real Sociedad. In his first spell at West Ham, they let him go because they wanted Pellegrini. It must be very rewarding for him because he's for me, he never put the Man U terrible season behind him. So it must be nice for him to finally be getting some good credit. Absolutely,
and as I say, he's got rid of some players that he didn't want in the team. He's brought some decent players in as well. And I think West Ham have always had that. Since they moved into that new stadium, it's always been a bit of a. It's not home. They miss Upton Park. But I think now with that team they've got and they've played some good football. Could you imagine with a full stadium they could turn that into a proper little fortress at London Stadium? And
I find it funny, when West Ham fans say, "Oh, it's not like Upton Park." I've been to Upton Park, and it was a really run-down stadium. But as well, I would prefer Upton Park to the Olympic Stadium. That's the thing. Yeah, definitely. I always find it really. They're like, "Oh, we miss Upton Park." It was, but. It's the problem is the Olympic Stadium is so far from the pitch that you don't feel the real atmosphere, and it's full of a lot of tourists now.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there a few times, but I'll tell you what, I think with that team they've got, I think they could, with a full stadium, I think I think a lot of teams could fear going there. It could be a little fortress that, and I mean, say Thomas Souček, I think he's he could be sign of the season because he had that nasty cut on his head against Spurs, and rather than go down, we did go down eventually, but got back up, tried to block the ball again. He's a warrior, and him in that Sue foul as well. I think really, really good side. And I mean, as Lingard's goal, I mean, it was a great finish. And why it went to VAR, I don't know, because it was no one was offside. They spent about a minute looking at it, and it was like, there's nothing wrong with it. Just give the goal. Come on.
It's really good to see. Again, like we all mocked Lingard and we all laughed and said, "Oh, he doesn't get any goals, assists." Everyone keeps calling him a young product, even though he's like 28 now. I think for him, he must be nice, like feel good. But the thing is this is what I say: like, if you're not playing football, you need to leave. You need to, unless there's a way for you into the team. He was never going to get in ahead of Bruno Fernandes. No. So go play somewhere else and show your worth. I do not understand players who sit around and just wait till their contract runs down. Find money. There's like money reasons, but you're still going to be well paid if you move to another Premier League club.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and he scored 4 appearances, 3 goals. I mean, he scored more goals than Kai Havertz has, and he's worth 80 million. So when at West Ham, they're playing some good football. They got City at the weekend, which is gonna be interesting. But I mean, City can't be unbeaten forever. Someone's going to beat them, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's someone like West Ham that goes and beats them. But it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think City will win.
Tell you why. I think City. Yeah. They're a machine at the moment, aren't they? City. That's the thing. So might we'll move on to the Let's All Laugh At. I mean, what have you got this week?
I mean, I saw there's this. I can't remember. I think it was Liverpool and Man U fans where. I think it was a Man U fan, pretended to a Liverpool fan that they were a woman in Aberdeen, and that basically, I don't know if you saw that. This is like because they were like rival fans, and pretended to be a woman in Aberdeen, and said, "Oh, if you come and meet me, and everything." Like, so this guy who was married at the time drove all the way to Aberdeen to meet this woman, and then the guy said sent a text message saying "Glory, glory, Man United" or something like that. When he got to, he's like, "Oh, where are you?" And then he's like, "It was a prank because you're a Liverpool fan." And it was like, "Glory, glory, Man United." And supposedly he got divorced since then.
Oh dear.
That's a painful prank, isn't it? This is why you should be very wary of people on the internet.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I like my one. I mean, it's not. I mean, mate, I thought it quite amusing. It was Jose Mourinho after the West Ham game in his pre-match interview saying that him and his staff's tactics are second to none in the world. And I was like, well, Jose, if your tactics were that fantastic, you'd be top of the table, wouldn't you? Let's be honest. But yeah, it's just, I mean, speaking.
We didn't get to talk about Jose, did we?
No, but I mean, we talked about delusion earlier, and with Spurs, the way they won the league in November, as I keep saying, and now they're ninth in the table, and I think I mentioned it on Sky Sports that Harry Kane, he's 27 now, nearly 28, and if they don't win that League Cup in April, he's got to start, he's gonna have to start looking elsewhere, isn't he? Because he's gonna want to win trophies.
I think it depends on what he wants, right? If he wants to be seen as Tottenham's best ever player and so forth, which it could be an ambition of his, because there are players who don't want to move. You just have to think of Francesco Totti, like Matt Letizia at Southampton. Some people just like to be the best player in their home club.
Yeah.
So he has to think, does he want to? If he wants to win trophies, it's not going to happen at Spurs, because probably Jose will be sacked this summer. I think. Yeah, I think so. Is he going to wait for a new manager to come in? That's going to take a season or two. He's going to be pushing 30. So, for me, he should, if he really wanted to win trophies, he should have left when Poch went. I think. Yeah. I think if he wants to be like Spurs' best ever player, then fair play to him. I mean, obviously, I'm Alan Shearer's biggest fan. He turned down numerous clubs to join Newcastle. Had so many offers through his Newcastle career because he wanted. But Shearer is obviously revered as like a god. He has a statue outside the stadium. I don't know. Does Teddy Sheringham have that at United? No. Does squad players they won the Champions League and everything. But like literally, if you ask Newcastle who's the best player you've seen, it's Alan Shearer. And you ask Tottenham fans maybe in 10 years' time when he's retired, they'll say Harry Kane. But if he moves, maybe he loses that. So he's got to think about it. Like, it's funny, like Robin van Persie is an example where he made for me, he left Arsenal, but he made the right decision. If you look, because he went and won the league, didn't he?
No, yeah, much as it pains me to say it, yeah, he don't, you know, he can't.
He knew it was going to be unpopular. He knew all that, but he said because he knew you weren't going to win the league. So, you know, it's. I mean, Harry Kane needs to think like, because he's not even going to play in the Champions League probably now, unless they win the Europa League. Like Harry Kane really should always be in the Champions League. He's that good a player.
You know, I give all Spurs players stick, but Harry Kane's a different class. And you know, if they don't win anything this season, like the League Cup, and don't finish in the top four, you know, Harry Kane would be. I mean, there'll be teams sniffing around him, and I think it'd be difficult for him to say no to a team like, you know, a Real Madrid or like that. I think it'd be interesting summer for Spurs.
I think for me, when I look at Harry Kane, I just like, where would he go? So you've got Barcelona, Real Madrid, yeah. Would they spend that much money when probably Mbappe and Haaland are on the market, possibly this summer? He's probably going to be, obviously COVID as well, affecting finances. If you look at English clubs, you're probably looking at Man City, Man United.
Yeah.
Like I think, probably Man United would suit him.
Yeah.
But, you know, and Man City, but I think he might be, everybody will try and get Haaland and Mbappe. He might be go to the club where he's second choice to, if they don't get Mbappe or they don't get Haaland, then they'll go and get Harry Kane.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting summer. That's absolutely certain. So who are we going for? Are we going for Jose Mourinho? Are we going for the bloke who got the, well, maybe.
Did you ever watch the Amazon Prime documentary when there's like, they're talking about Jose Mourinho on Sky Sports?
Yeah.
And they're saying like, he's past his best. He's, you know, he showed that at United, and he just looks up, says "fuck off," and switches off the TV.
Yeah.
It's just,
it was very good, that, actually. I must admit, I did quite enjoy watching that as an Arsenal. It was quite well made as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is, like, all the time, like now Danny Rose, people like, have Inter Milan come in for you yet?
So we're going for Mourinho? Or are we going for
I would go for Mourinho.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Mourinho, and Yeah,
I mean, when you say that your tactics are second to none, you're like, well, clearly they are, because you're ninth in the table. So, you know, you can't say that's a bit of a bizarre one, that. But c'est la vie, I suppose. You know how it is.
Yeah, I think it must be so difficult when you were the top and the best at your job. He literally was the best. If you look at Porto Inter those years, he was the best.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you imagine what it's like, the Chelsea. We forget that Chelsea, you know, he must be so frustrating to not be able to recreate that. Like you must constantly be like, I was so good, and now I'm just like, I'm ninth in the Premier League now.
Yeah, you've gone from having like Makelele and players like that to Eric Dyer. Must be a nightmare.
you think that, but probably if you look at that Inter Milan team, I would, you know, they had Thiago Motta in that midfield.
Yeah.
He probably was able to motivate Motta to play above and beyond himself.
Yeah.
He probably he can't do that motivation for those Spurs players anymore. No. Maybe football's moved on. Maybe his man management techniques don't work anymore. But,
maybe. Okay, well that probably brings the episode to an end. You can follow the podcast or on Twitter at LALA. Find it on Spotify. You can listen to Andrew's YouTube channel. You can listen to my podcast, Life's a Pitch. That's on Spotify and Twitter and everywhere else. Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, mate.
Yeah, no problem.
No worries, and I shall speak to you very, very soon. And the rest of you, have a lovely week, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the Let's All Laugh At podcast.